There are a lot of things here that most of us will never use, but there are some good ideas, I think, for emergency preparedness. Ways to help you get through in bad times if there's no electricity or other problems. So I'll let Linda explain most of these things here to you. She's been through it with some of the owners. So turn it over to Linda.
Okay, so there's a saying in preparedness, 1 is none, 2 is 1, 2 is 3. What do you think that means? Okay, I'll tell you. If you just go with solar, we went on a preparedness camp out, and a lot of people just had solar because it's such a cool thing. You don't need any fuel, right? But you do need sun. 4 days of straight rain. And so they couldn't cook. They were running over our tent saying, can we use some of your stuff to cook? We can't cook. So 1 is none. So at least pick a couple of these things to have, maybe even 3, but at least a couple to have for when you go camping or anything. You do not want to be caught with just one type of cooking thing, because food is good.
There are so many things on YouTube to help you get prepared for about any emergency. If you're interested in any of them, just look them up on the YouTube, and you'll be surprised how much you'll find.
So we are going to uplink this night onto YouTube, and we'll send a link out. So anyway, so here's a regular sun oven that a lot of you think of. They're great, and you can come up and look afterwards, but this one and this type of a sun oven, both are considered excellent for cooking summer or winter. Some of the other solar ones do not work as well in the winter. So just kind of think of that. There are a lot of homemade ones here. This one is it's also a charcoal burner. Let me see if I can get that up there for the camera guy.
You want me to hold some stuff
But
for you?
it's been made into a solar too,
Looks
so
like
you
a
can
body.
use charcoal or solar. It's a pot, and then you just line it with the solar.
Yeah, I'm not gonna cook in it.
Now, you good?
This one is a homemade one that you put in your car. And say your windshield is facing you guys, you put that up against your windshield. Just do not touch your windshield with it. You could ruin your windshield. But it cooks beautifully in your car. Just reflecting.
We had a granddaughter in school. She had one of these. They had a contest, so you could heat up the water the best. And she won it, just a thing like that.
Yeah,
It was like, kind of like this.
Yeah. So this is, you can see, this is just stuff that goes over your windshield, and it cooks almost anything you want to cook. So you don't have to spend a lot of money. You can make these on your own. So we brought a lot of things to show you. There is one thing you need to know. You have to have dark pans, and preferably not heavy pans if you're doing solar cooking. It's got to get that reflecting of the sun in and disperse it. Whereas when we show you some of the others, the heavier the pan is, the better. So just remember, solar, you've got to have some special pans. It could be dark glass, like brown glass or anything like that. Some people just spray their pans, which is fine too. With a matte black, you need the kind that can take the heat. These are some other solar ones. This is not too good in the winter, but you can see you could put little things in here, but it would be like if you were catching a small fish, or you could put some hot dogs in there or something. This is a kit that works very well, and it just goes into the bag that's under that, and it's a nice solar one. Any of these solar ones cook if you've got the sun and you just tilt it. So if the sun is over here, you turn it. And then when it comes noon, you turn it this way, and it goes, and it'll keep cooking. If you're not home, set it straight noon, and it'll just cook over the, say you go in the morning and you're going to come home and eat at night, it will eventually cook. Now this one, like we talked about, This one just works really well, and it's just made from really easy stuff. Okay. There's one more thing that's kind of solar here in the center. It's a parabolic cooker. So this one, I don't want to blind you, but the pan stays here, and this can rock back and forth, and it gets up to about 450 degrees.
How much does that one go for?
About 300. But you can fry, you can bake, you can do all this. So depends on your pocketbook, whether you want to go with something like this. Okay, yes,
So I'm gonna put in a plug for this one with these things on it, because Joanne Nightingale, she's my neighbor, said, "Hey Bishop, we got a good deal on these, do you want one?" So I did. And in the summertime, I'll put 3 kinds of beans in there, like pork and beans and kidney beans, and chop up some onion and some green pepper and put some Montreal steak seasoning in it, put it in there. A few hours later, I come back and it's all boiling and simmering. It's just, so good. Very manly.
yeah. Very nice. Especially when the man did.
A lot better than cooking. A lot better than cooking it in the microwave if you just let it simmer. So,
And it's great for summer cooking outside.
yeah, so
I mean, you can
it
cook,
feels better to cook
you
something.
can cook almost anything. Okay, this is a volcano stove.
Yes.
You want to talk
Can I
about
ask
it?
you a question before you go on?
Yes,
Storage of all of these. I mean, I've seen your garage, I mean, you guys have got the place, but how small do some of these collapse down so that they're manageable to store and you don't have a,
this one goes into this bag.
okay?
Of course, these all,
We tried to put the bags that they go under. This one goes into this green bag.
Okay.
I'm just
This
glad to
one
know that Scott's
goes into
got
the
one, so I can
camouflage
go in there
bag.
and cook.
So they don't take up as much room as they look.
the sun oven goes in that box down there, that white
Of
box.
course, the sun oven is collapsed down and it's this size, or it's
Okay.
this size. Okay, but most of the other things break down. Now, like this volcano stove goes down so that it's just this big. It goes inside, works with charcoal, wood, or propane. So if you run out of everything, and you can just go get some twigs. Now, this is a rocket,
This is a little-
this is a rocket stove.
Another one, this is a homemade one, and it really works well. You can take these little twigs like that and sticks, and you can cook a meal on that with no trouble at all.
Yeah, I mean, it's very super efficient with your wood.
And back here, we have a
Dutch oven.
Dutch oven, you all know about them,
So you take the
briquettes.
circumference, like if it's a 12-inch, you add maybe 3 briquettes for the top and about half of that on the bottom. Okay, so that's how you cook in a Dutch oven.
And you've all seen these are traditional. This is the white gas, propane. This is actually our favorite stove right here. And these are inexpensive,
About $15.
and they're just like having a gas range at home. One of these cans will last 8 hours on low and 2.5 hours on high.
5 hours on medium. I've canned on it. You can use it in the house.
You canned on that?
Yes,
It's just like
with a
having,
big canner.
it's just like having a gas range, really is.
So, and it comes in a little suitcase. I think they're over there against that wall, but, you know, we use it all the time when we go camping.
Those are very manly also.
They are.
I have one. I've got one of those.
They're good, aren't they?
They're
They're
great.
good. They're
The
used all
only,
the time.
the only bad thing about this is if it was freezing, this wouldn't work. It wouldn't be
It wouldn't
destroyed,
expand because it needs to be warm, so you just put the sleeping bag with you, or,
just warm up the gas.
same with the propane, it
You know.
needs to have a bit of heat to it.
So it's a little more difficult in the winter, but you can make it work. But you just need to turn it back into a gas without throwing it on the fire. Okay, and of course this is another rocket stove, homemade. Okay, this one is just showing like homemade stuff in a tuna fish can, say paper or
Variegated cardboard and wax.
cardboard, this one has
Yeah,
cardboard
variegated
dipped in
cardboard and
wax.
wax or alcohol.
Yeah. Yes,
So I've got a different home stove, it's what they call dual fuel. So you can run the regular white gas or unleaded out of your car. You can use it and use it.
regular white, so it'll run regular white gas?
It'll run regular white gas or unleaded fuel, so it's your.
Yeah.
Okay, very good, yeah.
This in here will run off of one of these canisters, or you can put one of those 20-pound.
Hook it like you do to your, and of course, any of you, if you have your grill, and you've got, say, that little stove on the side, or the little burner on
The
the
round
side,
burner on the side,
that's great, but it's not very efficient.
that one is.
Yeah, if you were using your big thing to cook, it wouldn't, but if you had that one, it's more efficient. So I don't know how much propane you store, it's not movable, very, very movable. So that's why we're showing you some of the things that you could take with you, and then you think, what have I got at home?
Hey, so that little stove, the butane stove, that'll boil a big pan of water.
Oh, like I say, I've canned on it.
Okay,
I've done,
because I
actually,
couldn't
my,
bring a pan of water to boil on my side burner on my grill.
Right.
It wouldn't boil.
and it wouldn't boil. Okay, so to me, it's not very efficient.
Just a quick plug. The key to any of these is after you buy it, break it open and try it out at home.
Yes,
If you go camping for the first time and you try to figure some of those things out, you're gonna mess it up. It takes time and practice,
does.
specifically with the solar ovens, but also with the rocket stoves. If you don't know what you're doing,
But they do
they
work
work.
really
It's
well.
better to figure it out at home. Cook
It
the
is.
beans in the backyard, do something with it,
Experiment with it.
and
Cook a
learn how to
meal.
use it so that when you need it, it will actually be of value to you.
Right. And I'm gonna put a plug in for your food storage. If you haven't got your food storage, this is not gonna do you any good because you won't have any food to cook. So, get your food storage.
Hey, where's the best place to store that butane though? Because you say in the wintertime, you don't want it out in your garage,
Well, it's all right out there.
It doesn't ruin it.
Put it on the back porch.
but you
It
just
just
have
needs
to
to
warm
be
it up.
kind of
You
warm.
would have to warm it up to use it, but it
It
doesn't
doesn't have to be
destroy
real
it.
warm, above freezing, I think it's fine.
Yeah, so, yes,
Yes,
So how much is that little black stove there, the one you like?
$15. Maybe
Right
20.
around there.
I haven't checked recently, but I know you can get them at least for 20. Now, each one of these,
It's 35.
$3 or something.
now we did put some orders in one time,
I'll buy you a cake.
and we bought cases of them and sold them. And then they ended up costing about $1.25 a can.
And we could possibly do that again, but
If
we
you have
have to
enough
see if
orders.
we had enough people interested, because you have to buy a whole pallet. And
You
that's
have to
the
have it shipped
stoves,
from California.
stoves and the fuel. Okay, let's just go through this. Now,
Let's do this here.
okay,
This is a really easy one to make. This is just a paint can. You take a standard roll of toilet paper, take the cardboard out, and stuff it into there, fill it with alcohol.
this is 91%, you can use 70. This just burns a little cleaner.
I'm not a very good lighter here. Anyway,
They're childproof.
He had hair before.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
It burns clean also.
we got, somebody who was on our mission made that for us. And you put a pan on there, and it'll heat water in no time.
It'll also heat a tent. So,
Yeah.
How long will that burn? So you put the
So
roll
you
of
don't put
toilet
the
paper in
alcohol
there
in while
and
you're storing it. You just
Okay.
store the can and the toilet paper and have the alcohol to the side until you use it.
Yeah.
right. Yeah, have it separate. And then just carry the alcohol because it burns for hours and hours and you never have to replace the cardboard or the news,
We gave
toilet
these-
paper.
We gave these to our kids and we attached an opener and a cigarette light, a lighter to it.
So you're stuffing
This is
a
the
roll of
smoking
toilet
bill, it's
paper
okay.
in there, and then you're just filling the inside up, and it just kind of absorbs it.
It
Yeah.
absorbs it and it doesn't disappear. It's kind of quick, but it,
And how long did you say that will burn?
hours and hours and
Lots
hours.
of
And you
hours.
just watch it. If it starts to go down below the paper too much,
Just add a little more,
to put it out, put the lid back on, take it back off, pour some more alcohol in it.
want to make sure there's no fire before you pour it.
Yeah,
Right.
make sure it's out
Yeah,
before
don't
you
put
pour the alcohol.
It also makes your jack-o'-lanterns look really cool, because they got fire coming on the top of them.
You can come up and look, but there's lots of little stoves if you're a backpacker, and they will boil water and, you know, heat up cans of things and stuff like that. They won't take a really big pan, so if you were cooking for your whole family, it might be a little more difficult. And this is called fatwood, and it's something that you can just grate and get your tinder, and it lasts a long, long time. So these two, so we just made this one yesterday, because I'll have to tell you a funny story. This is a charcoal, these are charcoal box ovens. And when we made our first charcoal box oven, and we baked bread in it and everything, and our charcoal was just sitting out in the garage, in its bag. And I don't know, maybe it'd been there for 9 months, maybe it'd been there a year, I don't know.
Probably from the last summer.
Maybe from last summer. So according to the internet, each briquette in an oven like this puts out 40 degrees of heat. If it's open in a grill, it's about 25 degrees, like for a Dutch oven or something, it's just out in the air. But 40 degrees if you have it inside of an oven type thing. So we put that many in and it just didn't get up to heat. So we kept adding them, it took 22 briquettes. You know, okay, so we
We could
cooked our
bake
bread.
bread beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, it was beautiful. Well, we ran out of that, so we bought us some new charcoal. Can you tell where this story's going? We put 22 briquettes in there and destroyed our oven. So, you cannot leave your charcoal out loose in its bag that it comes in. So what we do, we've got some in we've uploaded it on YouTube, how we store a lot of charcoal. We put it in a 55-gallon metal drum that seals.
This was a test we made.
Yeah, and it was a test we made, and it lasts years and years and years and years that way in the bags, because it's sealed out there. But for just what we buy, so a 16-pound bag of Kingsford charcoal, I put 15 in here, because we generally either use a Dutch oven that's about 10-inch, or we cook in here. And so that's enough, and we vacuum packed it in our thing that you seal your food with. Seal-a-meal, or no, is that what it is? Yeah, seal-a-meal. And so then we just keep these with it and take them with us and just open them up, and they stay for years this way. So you've either got to wrap your bags or somehow keep them out of the oxygen if you want your charcoal to burn the way it's supposed to.
Is it the oxygen or the moisture that ruins them?
Moisture can hurt it, and the air. Yeah.
Probably both, yeah.
Yeah, both. Okay, so the way we made this, we went to a construction site, and they gave us some of that insulation that goes on the outside of houses to insulate them, that has silver on one side. And, this one was made to go around fireplaces. So we got it free. If you were to go to the store, you'd pay about $25 for a 4x8 sheet. You could probably make at least 2 or maybe more of these. So you get the box. Now I wanted a box that would take my big cookie sheet, okay? So we picked a box that size after we put this in. We glued these pieces that we cut in here, and then you take this silver heat tape and you go along all your cut edges where you'll see that foamy stuff inside, and along your seams. And that's your charcoal box oven. We covered it with some contact paper, because when we go camping, it's out there and the dew gets on it, and you know, that won't ruin your box. So the way you do it, this is on the floor, or on the ground. So we have an old cookie sheet. I've got some little cake pans, but you could use bricks, you could use soup cans, or whatever you want. Put your rack on it. Your charcoal goes right under here. So you start your charcoal in your charcoal chimney. We were going to bring that, we didn't. And then you slip 9 of them in here if it's going to be 350, 60 degrees that you want. Put that in there. Put your pan on it. This, or you could put your cake pans, obviously, with this if you had your bread pans there. Then just put this down. See, I have a little rock under there. That's to let your air in, because if it doesn't have any air, the charcoal goes out. Let that build up some heat. You can use a thermometer and tell what it is. We're going to put that in. Or you can just know that it's going to be about 360 degrees if your charcoal is fresh. Then you just quickly lift that up, that's when you put your bread or your brownies or whatever in there. Put that down, time it just like you would in an oven. Comes out so beautifully. Now, if
A
you,
few years ago, we give that demonstration, and this right up here in the what? The Bowery. And when we opened it up, showed the bread, she got a standing ovation.
it's great. Now, this is a cheaper one. So this is just an apple box lined with tin foil, your heavier tin foil. And you have to make sure that there's no rips in your tin foil or anything. So if there is, and if you have to mend it, you'll want some of that silver tape for that. But it works the same way. I don't think it holds the heat quite as well. Sometimes you have to add more. And if you're going about, you need to go 45 minutes or something, I'd add another half again, the amount of briquettes. Just slip them under there again. So, any questions so far?
So that box lays right on the ground except for a rock to keep one little side up to keep the air circulating.
Yep. And it just cooks anything. Bakes, turkeys, whatever. So it's a nice, we've used these a lot when we go camping.
What's that big water thermos looking thing next to the other charcoal oven?
Oh, so this is like used in Europe a lot, and it has something that heats water or soup or anything, and it cooks very efficient because it's really a heavy duty.
What's it?
It's a thermal type.
Charcoal.
Yeah, you cook it with whatever you want to. Charcoal, whatever you're going to boil in. Okay, so all of these things use fuel of some sort, and that's where we're short. Okay, we don't, it's hard to store like a year's worth of fuel or even 3 months worth of fuel. It's very difficult. So I was thinking about this. I've got a lot of wheat, I've got a lot of beans, stuff that's going to take a while to cook. I don't know if you've ever cooked your raw beans, but it takes about 5 hours of fuel. Well, I didn't want to waste 5 hours of fuel, so I thought, what did the pioneers do? They used what was called a hay box. So what they would do is they would get their pot of beans or their stew or whatever going, and then they would put it in a box with hay in it and cover it with a wool blanket. And this would cover those boxes in the winter, would help. That's why this is Joanne Nightingale's, and it would help that one that just has the tin foil to stay a little warmer. Okay, so I thought, okay, so it's an insulation thing. So this is what we came up with. And it's the Wonder Oven. So, and if you want to go on YouTube and put in Wonder Ovens, you'll see me demonstrating cooking bread and beans and muffins and all sorts of things. So, we'll start, well, I'm going to start with that one, actually. So this is a Wonder Oven. It's like little styrene pellets in here. It's just good insulation. I've got a bottom one, and it sits in and nests. And this is my muffins.
This is the inside.
Okay, I'm gonna get on my gloves, start, so you guys won't feel like you get germs coming.
This is a man club, you're good.
Yeah. We wouldn't worry about it.
But it's also hot.
But I had another one.
I thought,
Just one glove spot.
There's more in the,
Yeah, there are more.
Custodial.
The ones we used to couldn't do.
Okay, and so we're gonna eat this food too,
Last weekend.
because I want you guys to see. All right, so these muffins, I just put in before I went to bed and made them. In the morning, I just took them out, so it's something you could do with just maybe 10 minutes of fuel. okay? This is how I did it. So there's two ways you can do it. You can save soup cans, and I'm going to show you on the soup cans. You want to get the kind, come on. Well, they're kind of gold inside. Okay, so look for a can that's got white or gold or something that's lined. See how it's rusty on the outside, but it's not rusty on the inside. So you want to get that kind, but my favorite way is just a little wide mouth. Yeah.
Half pint.
You have to spray them with like,
You want to come and
Yeah,
shake?
she does.
You want to come and shake these, Keith? They're not coming out very good. Usually they come out beautifully, you'll see.
So did you spray those with
I did.
a can or something?
Jen, I'll do it.
It's Keith's
Okay.
fault.
So I'll let Keith do that.
So Linda, you put them in a pan and brought it to heat,
Yes.
and then you put it in the Wonder Oven and
So
heat.
the whole idea of a Wonder Oven is water heats it. So if there's no water in it, like it's not stew or it's not beans or rice or something like that, then you have to get water around it. So this is around this one.
It's because you don't have gloves on.
It's hot. Okay, this was put in at 2 o'clock this afternoon. If any of you want to come and just fill the pan. It is still super hot.
So, did you put the muffin in the jars?
So you
then
put the
have
muffin,
water
spray the
boiling?
thing, put the muffin in the jar, put a lid on or something over the
But
top.
you had the water boiling in the,
No, the water's not boiling at that time.
okay.
And you bring the water up, so it's not boiling over your pan.
Uh-huh.
Put the lid on and you leave the lid on. Do not take the lid off. And you boil it for 10 minutes.
Okay.
Put it in your Wonder Oven, cover it up. Go to bed, go away. That takes about 5 hours. Now this one, so this is in my pressure cooker, but it's not pressured,
Oh.
okay? This one is a bean soup. Oh, I forgot my big ladle.
You want me to go to the kitchen and get
Yeah,
some?
a ladle.
Yep.
So this was raw beans that I just soaked last night. And then I just boiled them for 15 minutes. And put them in there for 5 hours, at least. But I put them in at 2. So it's been 6 hours, but it doesn't matter. It never burns, it never dries out. And it's just perfect for you to eat. Okay, so I'm going to put it right here.
Just sitting in that thing.
Yeah, just sitting in that.
You had to bring it
And
to
I
boil
don't know if
first.
you can
You gotta boil it
feel
for 10
that,
minutes
but
first.
even with my gloves, it's too hot to feel. So that's 6 hours. You can leave it a lot more hours, and it still cooks. And it never burns, it never dries out. So you're not wasting it if you're out four-wheeling or whatever. Come back, it's ready for you.
Just wipe on your pants, Pete.
It's not that, it's hot.
Thank you.
And Linda, you just, a couple weeks ago, there's a dish from Brazil that Jolynn makes, and we have to stir it every 20 minutes for probably 3 hours. And she made it and then stuck it in the Wonder Oven and didn't touch it. For how long?
5 hours.
5 hours?
It was
And
feijoada.
it came out amazing. It's called feijoada, yeah.
So it had sausage and ham and
Isso mesmo.
beans and onions, and this has ham and celery and carrots and everything, and so it's just ready to go.
You say spam or ham?
Spam.
Not spam, but, I mean, it would work with spam.
Put spam in those muffins, they'd come out of those cans.
It'd go through you a lot easier.
Okay. So this one, you put it down and the nest goes in there. and that's where your pan goes. Okay, now this one, so I
And
got,
how do you heat it? I missed that part of the Wonder Oven. How do you heat
Get
the?
it boiling
so
on
any
your
of these methods
Oh,
are on your
oh, oh,
stove,
oh, oh.
anything that'll boil water,
Got it.
because water is what's cooking it.
But she says once it's up to temperature, you don't have to leave it cooking for 5 hours.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You just gotta get it going and
Yeah,
then,
you just
yeah.
have to get it going and get that steam and everything, so you've got the,
So that's you can't just have one is none. You gotta have a couple to, I
yeah, just
got
a way to cook bring anything to a boil. And then if you have a Wonder Oven, now if you didn't have a Wonder Oven, I've seen people use like a ice chest, and they wad up newspaper and they stick it in there, and then they shut the ice chest and they cover it with a blanket or something. This is just kind of a
This
permanent
works
thing.
better too.
And say I'm going up to my daughter's in Logan and she asks me to bring a green casserole.
No.
But it takes me an hour to get up there, and then we might not eat for an hour. So I take it straight out of the oven, covered in tin foil, stick it in my Wonder Oven, put the pillow on the top, and go. 2 or 3 hours later, we eat it, it's warm. I didn't bake it in there, but I kept it warm, okay? Now this one is bread. This always tickles everybody. Because I thought, how am I going to cook bread? Because I've got all this wheat. It's gonna be hot, okay.
I think you should be teaching our wives this.
Yeah, yeah, why are we learning this? Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Because you are gonna say, honey, you need to get this. I will buy it for you.
It's a lot on it.
Well, that's actually too hot for
Bread.
me to pick up.
That's gotta
It
be
is
something
too
else.
hot to pick up.
It's a grill.
Okay,
That's been about a 5-hour.
I only came for my man.
So that
this
was,
one I put in about 20 to 4.
and that's the Wonder Oven?
This is, yeah, these are
That's the
all in the
one, these
Wonder
are all
Oven.
Wonder Oven?
And this is bread that was in water. Now I use my pressure cooker because the locking lid, the bread goes poof without a locking lid. So if you don't have this, you use a bungee or something to hold your thing down.
Duct tape.
Oh.
No crust,
Wow, look at that.
no crust.
Oh, that's the best part.
Wow.
So,
No crust?
no crust. So if you love crust, I love crust.
I like that idea.
Are those cans lined as well?
Yes, they're the gold. And so the best cans to buy are, it's hot. Like
That is crazy.
Kroger or Good Value, like, what is it? Like V8. V8 juice. Because they line the inside of those things, because, yeah, I should have had a V8. Anyway, they line the inside of them so that the tomato won't rust the pan. So this, I'm gonna just show you how nice these cut. Now this is hot bread. If you took hot bread out of your oven and tried to cut it, okay.
It's a muffin,
I
English
gotta give her a
muffin.
standing ovation.
Okay, I have one more to show you.
Canadian bacon and some eggs, you have a big McMuffin.
Hey, there you
What it
go.
looks like, exactly, yeah. It totally looks like a
Okay, now, if you were cooking this on your stove, it would have taken 5 hours of fuel for this. It would have taken maybe, 35, 40 minutes for your bread, but you'd have to bring it up to heat too. Your muffins, another 50 minutes or 35 minutes. Okay, so I use 10, 15, 10. Now, I've got a meal in here.
I think we've had enough. You've shown up the eclairs and the donuts. And it looks like a stew.
Let me see you do any clear.
How about
I
a,
didn't cook the eclairs, but I can figure it out.
Maybe a book.
What is that?
So that's
Potatoes.
potatoes, carrots, this is gonna be chicken.
chicken in a bag, huh? All right.
That's its own juice. So,
And that doesn't melt those bags.
now this is a
I know, that's what I keep
freezer,
thinking too,
this is a
yeah.
freezer bag. So don't use like just a storage bag, but like a Ziploc freezer bag. They're heavier.
The heat transfers through, as long as there's moisture on both sides, it won't burn.
Look
I
at
don't know if you can see how
Wow.
tender this is,
Yeah.
Sometimes
but
you cook an egg on the
better than half
campfire,
brisket.
and they cook it as long as there's enough water when you make the cup. You should not.
I don't know, I like half
okay. So what do you think?
Awesome.
So get your food storage. We can figure out how to cook any of it if you got it. We'll teach you whenever the time comes. Get it. And a Wonder Oven. Now our son does make them, but you can make them yourselves too. And or you can figure out a way with your ice chest or whatever. But have that to go along with whatever method you choose.
Is that wheat bread or white bread?
What was that?
Is that wheat bread or white bread?
This is white bread.
And does the wheat cook equally
Yes.
as nicely?
Yes.
Cinnamon
We've done
bread
cinnamon
does
bread,
good.
we've done
Anything.
Cinnamon bread, of course. Of course. Why didn't I do that?
You would just roll your bread out, put your cinnamon, roll it up, stick it in your
Listen, all
can.
the wheat bread.
Okay, so I'm gonna cut this for you, and you can come up and taste it, so you're welcome to come up and
Go
do
get mine,
it.
boys.
Get in line, or
So while you're doing that, I have
I
another
think we're
question
done.
if I
Thank
can.
you, Corky, for videoing this.